And a very warm welcome to the session 11 of the day 3 of the Bodh Gaya Global Dialogues. Very sorry for being late. The ambassador will join us shortly. In the meanwhile, I would request Shri Nangze Dorji, Secretary, Bodh Gaya Temple Management Temple Management Committee, to please be here on the stage with us. Dr. D.C. Chaube, Professor and Head, East Asia Program Study and Brihattar Bharat Project, IGNCA, New Delhi. Welcome, sir. Dr. Ajay Kumar Mishra, Convener of Bodh Gaya Global Dialogues and Assistant Professor, IGNCA, New Delhi. Shri Sanjay Kumar, Secretary, Deshkal Society. I request Gunjan to please present to Shri Nangje Dorji. A very warm welcome, sir. Dr. D.C. Chaube, IGNCA. Thank you. I would just briefly introduce all of them. Shri Nangze Dorji, Secretary of Bodh Gaya Temple Management Committee. He was the first person to represent the entire Himalayan region in the BTMC of Mahabodhi Temple and a life member of Mahabodhi Society of India. He was instrumental in introduction of monastic schools and Sanskrit Pathshalas in Sikkim and played a key role in the affiliation of Sikkim Institute of Nyingma Higher Studies to Sampurnanda Sanskrit University of Varanasi. Dr. Dharamchand Chaube is the Professor and Head, East Asia Program and Brihattar Bharat Project, Indira Gandhi National Center for the Arts, Ministry of Culture, New Delhi. His specializations include dissemination and transmission of Indian culture abroad, searching the cultural roots in the countries of Indic Belt, connecting the countries of Greater India through culture. He has published more than 50 research papers on India's interaction with the countries of West, East, and Southeast Asia. Dr. Ajay Kumar Mishra is the Regional Director, Indira Gandhi National Center for the Arts. He is heading the Eastern Zone of IGNCA, Ministry of Culture, and entrusted with looking after the preservation, conservation, development, and flourishment of indigenous, tribal, folk art, craft, culture, and heritage of Eastern India. He has presented many papers in the national and international seminars and workshops and published many articles pertaining to Indian art and culture. He has also been honored with the Veda Vyasa National Award for his contribution in research. He is associated with the Indira Gandhi National Center for the Arts, New Delhi since 1996 in various capacities. Previously, he was looking after the Indological Research and Publication Unit of the center. I welcome you all, sir. To begin with, I would like to invite Shri Nangde Dorji, Secretary BTMC, for his kind words. Thank you, sir.
Most respected distinguished dignitaries address, respected delegates who are present here. First of all, I, on behalf of Mahabodhi Mahavihara Temple and Bodh Gaya Temple Management Committee, would like to welcome you all and convey our warm greetings to all of you today here, also those who have been attending this summit since 24th and 25th, 26th. So those all of you, we would like to welcome, and also those who are connected through electronic medias. So it's a very important thing. So here, this summit is held here in Bodh Gaya. So we are supposed to the first one to come and join here. Unfortunately, because of unavoidable circumstances, for the last 2 days, even I wanted but could not be present here. So today, on this very auspicious occasion, so first of all, my greetings and best wishes from the Mahabodhi Mahavihara Temple. Earlier, we had a summit in 2018, May. In that time, I had the opportunity to participate and a short presentation on the Bodh Gaya also. So mostly it's Bodh Gaya now the 5th edition of the Global Dialogue is held in Bodh Gaya. So I'm sure definitely importance, and one thing I don't know whether you have been to the main temple visit or not. Maybe seeing slightly, not most of you all are, younger generation, not that familiar to me. So maybe or maybe most of you have maybe the first visit or may not be knowing something about the basic information of the Mahabodhi Temple, here known as the World Heritage Site. So as you know, this is the place where Buddha got enlightened 2,600 years ago. So you see, you have the Mahabodhi Mahavihara Temple, and it's inscribed as a World Heritage Site in 2002. So based on that, among the considerations, there's a number of, I think about six or seven criteria on the basis of which they inscribe and recognize the World Heritage Sites. So this is more of the important things. This is a site related to the Buddha's life and his teachings. These on that. So it's a very important cultural World Heritage Site. So we have been telling the World Heritage Committee should feel privileged to be inscribed this Mahabodhi Temple, the land of Buddha, as one of the cultural heritage sites. So because one important thing is importance out of universal view based tangible and intangible. Tangible, there's another thing, this is supposed to be the oldest brick structure of the Indian structure, and other things. The main thing, intangible, outstanding universal value, that is Buddha's life, his teachings, and you see that at present when you go to the temple, and then most important thing is at the back of the temple, you have the Vajrasana, the seat, where he sat and got enlightened, and the Bodhi tree. So this is a historic evidence of the event that took place about 2,600 years ago. So this is about to, we believe the present Buddha, then in future, there's a question of future Buddha, past Buddha, this is something. But historically, we are talking about the Bhuggya Shatamani Gautam Buddha. So that way it's a very important, and I just saw in the main theme of, this today's meeting, as I mentioned of heritage, culture, art, philosophy, and the teachings of Buddha. So I know these are actually, you all are mostly scholars, and he said they know better. But still, what we talk about this important focus is not only from the spiritual point of view only, puja, prakam, you get enlightenment, but it's very much connected with socio-economic life in every respect. So because of these things, this is some of that contributing, because of this influence of practice or Buddhist teaching, it will definitely contribute towards each and everything in the life of a person individually, society, and the globally like that. So that way, whatever you might have discussed, I'm sure for the last 2 days, there are quite a number of interactions, deliberations. I'm sure that will be very fruitful in continuation of the the whatever the discussed and the recommendations made in the last summit, which was held in March 2018. In between that, as you all know, we all faced the gloomy period of the COVID pandemic. So, but after that, now slowly, things are coming up here. Then we could have this meeting also this time. That's a very good thing. So, whatever your focus of, the themes is very much represented by when you see, if you go to if I visit to the Mahabodhi temple, it's not when normally we go for a temple, darshan of the Buddha, definitely, or some some asking for something, then rituals, prayers. But here, one thing's culture is, Buddhist culture is a very much Indian culture. Then Buddhist culture related Buddhist art and architecture. So that thing you could think of like, there are so many things, I think we are also normally not aware of that. So even I am here since 2008 onwards. Very recently only I could realize such a fine art and architecture things which you see carefully on each and every monument or stupas, Buddhist stupas, walls of the temple, and you think of how they create. These are the very treasured things, whichever is a really, unimaginable thing. Although you see, this takes all for this, not only for the devotees, scholars, if you see that type of art and art culture, the things are bound. And just for information, from our side committee, we are trying to at least to have a photographic document of these things, whatever available. So they may be of some use, future reference and records. Otherwise, when you see, so in the past, we don't say anything, even after years, but maybe some use, and that part we are doing. Other than so many researchers, they are coming, scholars are coming here, they are, based on what so far, I think detailed study have not been made. If you see one thing, out of there, so many things to be interpreted thing. And other thing is like art, then culture, also culture through the practice of tangible and intangible. That is again, when you say tangible, is not only that, when culture ceremony inside temple, so many these ceremonies are held here in Bodh Gaya, and internationally all Buddhists, they come here. As you know, actually, mostly as you call the pilgrim season, or the, what you say, the season, puja, prayer things, starts from October onwards. October to March, till February. There are so many things, and more, because more and more people are, they are coming to here because of, with the improvement in all, by through media, more, aware of the importance of this place. And then also with the facilities improving in, link up by air, by train and road, all these things. So in that way, so as you see, like for instance, a number of temples are coming here. So when you say temples are coming there, they say no, temples are coming for a puja, they are respecting. But only having a temple here is connected that country to here. That will be a center. Through that, it can be a cultural exchange, everything, and like that. So then, this is a temple. As you know, all mainly Buddhist monasteries, temple, even Hindu temple. Among there are so many different traditions, sects, and other things are there. But normally, whatever follow their own campus, they do different. There is no place. I don't need. Very few places where all traditions could, gather at the same place under one umbrella type of. So when you come to the Bodh Gaya during maybe peak season, you will find so many traditions having the puja ceremonies, different ways, all are, different way, manner, that you can see so many things that we never get a chance to have that thing idea. So that globally interaction is there. According to that, basic root of culture, everything is, from Buddhist, started from here, is Indian basic culture, Indian, tradition. But through their own way of, geographical condition, then the language, and then how they pronounce and all these things, and that there's a different thing. But basic thing is Theravadan traditions are all same. All they chant Pali. But I'm here for the quite a number of years. I could make out when they're chanting, whether they are chanting or being done by a Thai or Sri Lankan or Vietnam, Myanmar, or because of their pronunciation slightly different like that. And then also costume tradition also, because based on the climate condition, some they have to wear thick clothes and all, then others there. So that is part of ceremony there. So many things interacted. Side by side, that really is connected with the socio-economic, what do you call, the condition or the problem of the particularly both area side by side through that. So then the promotion of tourism is automatically that is there. So now that time of you're talking about the art and culture, then whatever more about learning through Buddhist. This is not, I'm talking spiritual only, it's not place. These are very much, culture is really Buddha's teaching or Buddha's words are very relevant, more relevant today. So when you talk about the one, you have seen like the philosophy, if it's referring to the Buddha's philosophy, and we have been hearing from the historian Dalai Lama a number of times, he kept on saying Buddhist religion, Buddhist science, Buddhist philosophy. Buddhist religion is something personal, those who believe, those who practice Buddhism. And Buddhist science is scientific, Buddhist philosophy, Buddhist science and Buddhist philosophy are universal, and then timeless. It is relevant in the past, relevant present, it will be relevant in the future. So that type, this is what we understand, that way of we are understanding. Then side by side, then coming in the like Buddha's teaching, actually teaching of the thing. But teaching is something, the Buddha's teaching is again through, we have to follow Buddha's teaching, not knowing only, but Buddha's teaching is Buddha's teaching, we have to practice. Then based on the basic text of Tripitaka and the other things, then they what do, then there's a tradition of starting with the Theravadan tradition, then Mahayana tradition. Within Mahayana tradition, there are Tantrayana, Vajrayana, so many traditions are there. But focus basic is not different. Everything based on that, the Buddha's, as a Buddhist, Buddhism is taken as a way of life. This is not only in the temples or when you are doing some puja, then you think. Of course, this is all with all religions, isn't it? But more of things what we are thinking, what we discipline. Actually, discipline through body, speech, and mind. This is the thing, how try to improve your own control. And your main thing is basically, caring for others. You always think about the others and we, not the I, or I means it becomes selfishness. So that way are caring, starting, all prayers, all these things, we pray for all sentient beings. Not, like all, if you pray and wish for all, we are included. If you just praying for yourself, then it is more of a, so these are the way of thinking. Then tolerance is one thing. So many, as these are what you practice, automatically that contributes to the harmony and peace in the society. When there's a peace in society, ultimately then attain the happiness, that is thing. And then other things like those who the truly or seriously practitioners, Buddha Dharma, all things, they have a, you have to follow certain tradition of Theravadan tradition or Mahayana tradition thing. They have to follow that. But while they are following that, there are certain cases of basically what the Theravada is a basic and Mahayana tradition. The Theravada tradition is, just what we learn. I'm sure it's not, maybe wrong. What I understand is Theravada tradition is one. First, you get yourself enlightened, then you lead them to enlightenment. So, the Mahayana tradition is of first you try to get all others go ahead and enlighten. It will then I get enlightenment fully. This is part of like Bodhisattvas out there promises. All are getting enlightened. Then I will follow. So question of some leaders, whether you take a lead, then please follow. The others ask to follow. Or first you send all of them again, then you go at the last to see nothing, everything's all are covered. These way of thinking are what we understand. This is my small way of knowledge. So moreover, these are all of the, what the scholars, it's not we actually basically don't know much, but still our small way of understanding that is there. So side by side, otherwise not much to tell you, but still they have been. We are waiting for the SL, the ambassador of Mongolia. So to that in view, so one thing to prolong my, some sort of talk, if you are not getting bored, thing is, I think mostly if you are not much aware of this temple, how it is functioning, this thing, I would say Bodh Gaya temple is, is managed by the Bodh Gaya Temple Management Committee. It's constituted under the provision of a Bodh Gaya Temple Act of 1949. So there we have 8 members, 4 Buddhist members and 4 Hindu members, headed by the district magistrate as the ex-officio chairman. So out of that 8 members, 1 is appointed as the member secretary, which I am holding present now. So with that, through managing the thing, the committee is for a term of 3 years It's nominated and under the administrative control of the Home Department, Government of Bihar. As a World Heritage Site, this is a World Heritage Property. Now they are using the term instead of World Heritage Site, World Heritage Property. Property is actually confined within Mahabodhi Temple Complex. So, but Mahabodhi Complex, like World Heritage Property, is here in Bodh Gaya. So that World Heritage Point property is there. Property should be belong to somebody. It can be belong to any private owner also. That this property belongs to the Bihar government. That is thing. So that way now Bodh Gaya for the Buddhists, what we believe, not the temple or the complex. The whole area of Bodh Gaya within the radius of 20 kilometers, this is taken a very, very important holy place for the Buddhists and those who believe in Buddha's teachings or thoughts. It's a very important. So we have, as you know, in all religions, when we practice something, it's a purpose. We are holy sacred place. When you practice, then get a multiple, merit, outcome. That way, here also, this is a very important thing. So we are ready to just say, happy to have the presence of Your Excellency, the Governor of Mongolia, to tell you, we had the privilege of welcoming a high delegation led by the President of Mongolia last year to visit Bodh Gaya. And so with that, we are, in particular, I'm very happy that to see you again here in this forum to grace this occasion. So with these few words, I would like to conclude my, short, speech, and with wishing you all let's go ahead and let's look for further such deliberations here in Bodh Gaya. Thank you very much.
I would like to extend a very warm welcome to His Excellency Mr. Ganbol Dambajev. Welcome, sir. Briefly introducing His Excellency Mr. Ganbold graduated from the National University of Mongolia, BA in Foreign Service. He possesses a master's degree in linguistics, science and technology, University of Mongolia, and diplomacy, Diplomatic Academy of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Russian Federation. He has been awarded with the Silver Cross of Merit of the Republic of Poland. He has worked at the Permanent Mission of Mongolia to the UN, New York, United States of America, Embassy of Mongolia in Sofia, Bulgaria, concurrently accredited to the Republic of Albania, Republic of Cyprus, Hellenic Republic, Republic of North Macedonia, and Romania. Embassy of Mongolia in Ottawa, Canada, concurrently accredited to the Federative Republic of Brazil. Since December 13, 2021, he has been serving as the Ambassador, Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of Mongolia to the Republic of India, concurrently accredited to the People's Republic of Bangladesh, Kingdom of Bhutan, Republic of Maldives, Federal Democratic Republic of Nepal, Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka. I welcome you, sir. Can we have a few words from you here on the dais?
Thank you. Good afternoon. It is my privilege and honor to be here. And, there was some misunderstanding about timing, so I was expected to speak around 6, but we're speaking early. But I'm happy, and thank you. Thank you very much for having me here. Dear friends in Dharma, ladies and gentlemen, Mongolia and India are spiritual neighbors. The links of our two countries goes many thousand years back. The culture and the religion of Buddhism, which was born in India, penetrated into Mongolia several thousand years ago. I would like, using this opportunity, to quote the eminent Indian scholar, Professor Lokesh Chandra. He once said that culture is not just a music or dance. Culture is a power. In Mongolia, we have saying Kalidasa Mektuta, which is translated into Mongolian and as Astangang Hrieda Samhita of Bhaghata. Most of culture in Mongolia has gone from India, as our prominent doctor states many times. This Honorable Lokesh Chandra professor statement speaks for itself as sharing the spiritual and cultural heritage between Mongolia and India. A coin in Mathura from the 2nd century BCE, which was found in Mathura, has an inscription that has word Kagan on it, and it's in Mongolian it means emperor. And the word Hagan has been written as an original old Mongolian script, which is very interestingly, in the modern times, is pronounced as Han. If we speak about spiritual links, ancient spiritual links, and the spread of Buddhism in land of Mongols, we have to step back a little bit, back to history. As historian states, the Buddhism has spread in Mongolia 3 times, and at the different certain stages of our history. The first stage begins when the various Mongol tribes was under empire of Hunnu, you know. And according to the earliest available source of information, the Han Chinese who had captured a Hun noble man from the Hun's tribe, he found that who was a governor of the Huknur and Ganshu districts of the Hun empires in 121 BCE. And with him, he found the golden figure of the Lord Buddha. And this is somehow through this, let's say, occasion, the Chinese firstly encountered the Buddhism in the history. Actually, historically, it says that Buddhism penetrated into Mongolia from the western sides, which is the Xinjiang and Central Asia as of today. At that time, Buddhism had spread west to present day of Afghanistan and Iran's in the eastern part. But the Buddhism disappeared, or was demolished, let's say, after the Muslim spread across that region. Although we used the term as Tibetan Buddhism until recently had penetrated into Mongolia strongly, and many cultural and religious terms such as Sutra, Vajra, and etc. are of Sanskrit origin, which proves that the Mongols were exposed to Buddhism quite a long time back, but the passage of time it somehow disappeared. The second resurgence of Buddhism into Mongolia, which happened during the period of Yuan dynasty, in 13th or 14th centuries, when the Mongol emperors converted to Tibetan Buddhism. The actual founder of the Yuan dynasty was the Mongolian king Kublai Khan. He invited the Lama Dorjen Chagol Phagwa of the Sakya school of Tibetan Buddhism to spread Buddhism throughout his realm. The Buddhism became the de facto state religion of the Yuan dynasty, and in 1269, Kublai Khan commissioned Phagwa Lama to design a new writing system to unify his writings of these multilingual tribes empire across his empire. The Phagwa script, also known as a square script in Mongolia, was based on the Tibetan script, and it was written from the vertical from the top. And it was designed to write in Mongolian, Tibetan, Chinese, Uyghur, and Sanskrit languages. And it served as an official language of his Yuan dynasty empire. This was the second resurgence of Buddhism in Mongolia. In 1578, Altan Khan, the Mongol military leader, the ambitious plan to unite all Mongols again, as the Genghis Khan did before, invited the third Dalai Lama into Mongolia, who was at that time the head of rising Gelug lineage in Tibet, to the summit. They formed an alliance, and which gives each of them the legitimacy and religious sanctions at that time. Unfortunately, Altan Khan died soon after that, but the next century, the Gelug spread throughout Mongolia, aided in part by the efforts of contending Mongol aristocrats who, in religious sanction and mass support, ultimately to support their own empire. However, as I said, the word disappeared, maybe not inappropriate, as the spirit of Buddhism continues and spread all around the Mongolia, which now reaching today. When Mongolians, we faced shift to democracy around 30 years ago. And I would say that if we may say so, that the fourth wave of Buddhism, I can say so, it was related to most recent history with Bakul Rinpoche. Was the Indian government appointed him as the ambassador of Mongolia. He was a well-respected person in Mongolia, I believe. Personally, I have a privilege to know him, and he was, I would say, the modern ambassador for Mongolians. He was a spiritual supporter, spiritual leader for Mongols, because during his ambassadorship in Mongolia, we Mongols faced a difficult transition spiritually and economically. So the support from the Bakula Rinpoche, it was very strong support from the Indian side. And also I would like to relate into our historical link, specifically note that long before the spread of Buddhism in ancient Mongolia, there were historical evidences providing that Mongolian monks and scholars used to come to India to study and get education at the Nalanda University. And our scholars at that time used to mutually travel to each other's country. From the time of spread of Buddhism, cultural ties between the peoples of Mongolia and India grows. Sutras by the Indian scholars was translated into Mongolian language, and the Mongolian lamas visited India on the pilgrimage often and continues to do that. And I'm happy to state that the continuation of this exchange of our spiritual connection, more than 700, almost 800 Mongolian young monks are studying in Buddhist philosophy, science, and tantric studies in the various Buddhist monasteries around India, mostly in Karnataka. There is a continuous exchange of Buddhist scholars to various Buddhist conferences and the meetings held in Mongolia and in India too. The most recent history goes that in June last year, during the Buddha Purnima, the Indian government delegation led by the Honorable Justice Minister Kiren Rijiju visited Mongolia, bringing the holy relics of Buddha, which was blessed by thousands of Mongolian Buddhists. And more than 70 Buddhist temples and monasteries were given as a gift the 108-volume words of Lord Buddha, or the Mongol Ganjur, as we say it in Mongol language, which was sponsored and printed in India as a set, whole set. The publication and distribution of the Mongolian Ganjur has become a symbol of cultural dialogue between Mongolia and India and has contributed to strengthen the diplomatic relations between our two countries, which was officially established in 1955. During the historic visit of the Prime Minister Modi to Mongolia in 2015, it was the very first visit of the Indian Prime Minister to Mongolia, the Prime Minister also gifted the statue of Lord Buddha and his two disciples, Sariputra and Moggallana, to the center of the Mongolian Buddhists and the monastery. And these statues were made by the famous sculptor Ram Sutar and Anil Sutar. And I'm happy to inform that the original, smaller version of this Buddha and his two disciples I have in my office and at the embassy. All of this, the historic and everything that is happening is the part of our strategic partnership between Mongolia and shows our long-standing spiritual links between our two countries. And I'm confident that the shared culture and heritage of Buddhism will bring our two peoples more closer spiritually and culturally in the years to come. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I now invite Dr. D.C. Chaube, I now invite Dr. Ajay K. Mishra, convener of Bodh Gaya Global Dialogues and assistant professor IGNCA New Delhi, to sum up.
निंदसि यज्ञ विधेरह रहस्रुति जातम सदय हृदय दर्शित पशुघातम केशव ध्रुत बुद्ध शरीर जय जगदीश हरे प्रभु जय जगदीश हरे बुद्धम शरणम गच्छामि धम्मम शरणम गच्छामि संघम शरणम गच्छामि। इस संघ में उपस्थित सारे बुद्धों को मैं नमन करता हूँ। मुझे लगता है आचार्य गौतम बुद्ध कहें, भगवान गौतम बुद्ध कहें, सबको बुद्ध होने का, सब बुद्ध होके ही, सब बुद्ध होने का ही ताकत रखते हैं, है ही है। ये जो मैसेज है सनातन से चले आ रहा है और आचार्य गौतम बुद्ध के माध्यम से फिर आगे ये जो लाउड हुआ है, यही है, ये है कार्यवान है। उसके साथ ये जो संगोष्ठी के माध्यम से, संघ के माध्यम से, क्योंकि आचार्य गौतम बुद्ध संघ को बहुत तवज्जो दिए हैं और मुझे लगता है इसीलिए तो इसमें ये जो संघ, क्या नाम, भारत सरकार लगे हुए हैं, यूएन लगे हुए हैं, जो ये जो मैसेज लाउड हुआ कि हम लोग, लेकिन आप है उसमें, आप कैसे राजी हो रहे हैं, पूरा वो आनंद भी प्राप्त, आनंद भी हुए बुद्ध, हम लोग बुद्ध हो सकते हैं, वो है कैपेसिटी। ये चीज़ें हमारे ऊपर निर्भर है, वो प्रायोगिक पक्ष को लेके है, प्रैक्टिकलिटी के। तो इसीलिए काफ़ी समय से काम बुद्ध के समय से भी चले आ रहा है। और ये जो कंसेप्ट है ये सनातनी पूरा आदिम काल से ये कंसेप्ट को और अलग अलग समय से जा रहा है, और अभी उस जो नंबर 1 है उसके साथ सारे चीज़ें जुड़े जाते हैं, एक दूसरे से सब जुड़ा हुआ है। हर यदि हम लोग एक जितना भी, अब मैं सुन रहा था सर अरविंद मोहन जी का, क्या कंसेप्ट है ये सारी चीज़ें, मतलब अद्भुत। अब हमारे मनीष सिन्हा जी, मैं थोड़ा सा समय ले रहा हूँ क्योंकि मैं सर आपका आदेश होता, सर अभी जी हैं अभी इनके बारे में तो आप लोग को पता है कि अभी हाल ही में भारत सरकार संस्कृति मंत्रालय द्वारा एक बहुत बड़ा परियोजना बृहत्तर भारत, जो चीज़ें हम लोग अभी बात कर ही रहे थे, क्योंकि मैं तो यही कह रहा हूँ जो बुद्ध का मध्यम मार्ग, मध्यम निकाय, उसी से हम लोग सब चीज़ें जुड़े हैं हम लोग, लेकिन जो अल्टीमेट है हम लोग है उसमें कितना दूर, बुद्ध का यही एक मैसेज है। और एक भी चीज़ें जैसे कि संस्कृत में कहा जाता है, एक शब्द सम्यक ज्ञाता स्वर्गलोके च कामधुग् भवति। ये जो संगोष्ठी, इस बार जो संगोष्ठी रहा, इस संगोष्ठी में कहीं ना कहीं यदि कोई तारा शब्द भी आया, उसको भी हम लोग उसको भी जोड़ देते हैं। कितने हजार शब्द, मैं सिर्फ इटियोलॉजी की बात नहीं कह रहा हूँ, उसका आर्कोलॉजी, इतिहास, आइकोनोग्राफी, कुछ भी, रीडेवलपमेंट, कुछ भी। और सॉरी मैं और आगे नहीं जा रहा हूँ, लेकिन मैं 2-3 चीज़ें बता दूँ उसी को लेके हम क्योंकि अपना चीज़ें खुद ही बोलना चाहिए आज के डेट में, क्योंकि अपदीपो होगा जो ये संगोष्ठी 3 दिन का आज हम लोग उजातपन की तरह जा रहे हैं। ये भी एक हम लोग जो बड़े चीज़ की बात कह रहे हैं, जैसे कि हम समुद्र राम सेतु के समय गुंची मुचा की तरफ हम लोग अद्भुत काम कर रहे हैं। हमारे जो अध्यक्ष राम बहादुर राय जी, उनके मार्गदर्शन में, और सचिदानंद जोशी हमारा सदस्य सचिव जी हैं, यंगेस्ट वाइस चांसलर हैं, और उनका जो शिक्षाविद और उनका जो माने ये चीज़ें जो अभी जो बोध गया ग्लोबल डायलॉग, उसके साथ साथ आप लोगों को पता ही होगा प्राइम मिनिस्टर के ऑफिस के माध्यम से रिवाइवल ऑफ बोध गया एज ए टूरिस्ट सेंटर ऐसे कुछ था, उसमें ये पीएमओ का प्रोजेक्ट है। तो इसको सब तो कर ही रहे हैं, हम ही लोग भी कर रहे हैं, लेकिन इसको और प्रायोगिक पक्ष में और इसको कैसे आगे बढ़ाया जाए। और मैं आज प्रोफेसर चौबे जी से भी ये रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा कि ये जो बृहत्तर भारत के आगे उन्होंने संस्कृति मंत्रालय द्वारा उसको हेड कर रहे हैं अभी, और ये भी मतलब इनके मार्गदर्शन, हमारे राय साहब और जोशी जी का मार्गदर्शन से ये चीज़ें चल रहा है। और संजय जी से काबिल तारीफ़ है उनका। मैं ये देख रहा हूँ 2018 से लेके इतना बड़ा कोरोना रहा 2 साल, बावजूद वो लगे रहे, जो जिसको कहते हैं लग रहे रे भाई बनते बन जाई, ऐसे नहीं है कि लेकिन ये सब चीज़ें होना ही चाहिए। ये भी नहीं है क्योंकि गौतम बुद्ध ने मध्यम निकाय भी सोचाए हैं, हालांकि हम लोग उस वो होने के लिए हम लोग इसमें आए हैं, लेकिन हमारे ऊपर निर्भर करता है हम लोग कहाँ जाना है। और इसके लिए मैं सर आज चौबे सर से भी रिक्वेस्ट करूँगा कि आगे इसमें कैसे फेलोशिप के माध्यम से, और बहुत सारे रिसर्च होने को बाकी है, ऐसे नहीं है कि हम लोग बहुत काम कर लिए हैं, ये नहीं है, काम बहुत किया जा सकता है। जैसे अरविंद सर बोल रहे थे जो 70 मतलब उसको कैसे गांधी के साथ कैसे जोड़ रहे थे, अब आज का 2500 साल गौतम बुद्ध भी ये काम किए, उसको कैसे हम लिंक किया जा सकता है, डॉक्यूमेंट्री के माध्यम से कैसे आ जाए। लेकिन इसके लिए पैसा भी बहुत ज़रूरी है, अर्थ प्राधान्य जो होगा। ये नहीं है कि साहब जैसे बोल रहे थे अरविंद मोहन से कि गांधी का क्या मंत्र था, कुछ आवाज़ में 25,000 30,000 नारी शक्ति इकट्ठा हो जाती थी, तो वो कुछ अंदर से ये चीज़ें हम भी हो सकते हैं, लेकिन बस कितना करना है। मैं संजय जी का तो मैं क्या बताऊं, और ये हमारे अभी मैं आशा करता हूं प्रोफेसर धर्मचंद्र चौब जी के मार्गदर्शन से आगे और क्या क्या कर सकते हैं वो खुद ही हमको मार्गदर्शन दें, इसी आशा के साथ नमन करता हूं। नमस्कार।
Thank you, sir. Shri Ajay ji, he shared about the relevance of the Bodh Gaya Global Dialogues in today's time, and stated that we are in the 5th edition of the Bodh Gaya Global Dialogues. And he marked the relevance of these dialogues in terms of, the culture and the heritage of Bodh Gaya and its relevance.
I think the point that Mr. Mishra wants to explain or elaborate is that Buddha, during his lifetime also, he used to say that there has been Buddhas before me and there would be Buddhas after me. And he also remarked that everybody could be a Buddha. He was Gautam who became Buddha, and he said, not only me, but everybody could be Buddha. And that's the message he wants to convey to everybody, that there is a potential in Buddha's teachings and the message that he gave for everybody to become Buddha. I think this itself is very profound, and this is the most relevant in these present times. The political turmoil the world over, I think the Buddha's message is so profound, so meaningful, and achievable. It's not that it's a theoretical philosophy, it's a practical philosophy. Buddha was the finest scientist ever produced in the world, 2,500, 600 years ago. So that's what he is trying to convey. Maybe he's overwhelmed with the philosophical traditions of Buddha that he's not able to articulate as much. But I think there's a lot that can be said about Buddha. But in a very simple term, he said the things are, the law of impermanence is the core of Buddha's philosophy of detachment. I think Buddha has a lot of things scientifically validated, which we can also imbibe in all of us. That's the message that I hope I haven't extended too much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I now invite Shri Sanjay Kumar, Secretary Deshkal Society, to briefly sum up.
Dear His Excellency Mongolia, our respected dignitary and Secretary बोध गया टेम्पल मैनेजमेंट कमेटी, आदरणीय प्रोफेसर DC चौबे साहब और हमारे अभिन्न मित्र, सहयोगी, सहयात्री आप अजय कुमार मिश्रा जी. Just we are reflecting ourselves. I am reflecting ourselves at the end of the program, and then I think so. It is the part of the process of their journey. At the moment of this journey, what we could articulate, reflect, and share with you. It is not easy to summing up from my perspective and my experience at this moment with you. So I think so. I am planning now. We are just focused 2-3 specific things which is not related the process and the devolution and the context and the history of the dialogues, but also how can we ensure not only the dialogue but also the key objective of dialogue for the future. Then I thought when we envisage this dialogue in the background of inspiration and insight from, in a very common terminology, in a common sense, not only use this philosophical terminology in a common sense in India, but abroad, even the world, Bodh Gaya is the line of enlightenment. But during this process, we have deeply realized that for the enlightenment is concerned, it is deep philosophical meaning. And then we have revised. And now, as for the future, in the process of the Bodh Gaya dialogue, we can plan out, we develop a center. You can say it is a center of knowledge. In the past, in the process of the getting insight from the line of enlightenment, grounded by Buddha or Mahatma Buddha or Lord Buddha. How can it possible? I think during 4-5 years, we realized and deep experience, is it possible? And the core strength of the possibility have to build of the collectivity and institutional mechanism. As for the collectivity, the value of the collectivity is concerned, since 2017, we have been receiving a tremendous cooperation, tremendous support, not only United States of America or the Europe, or including South Asia or Southeast Asia, but in India. And the most important thing, always, in fact, we reduce the terminology. So I think, so I'm hesitating to articulate this terminology in a local, but in a wider, the context of the Bodh Gaya. Tremendous support, either the university or the civil society organization or the independent researcher, the group, or the monastery, or BTMC. In this background, just I think so, in a passing reference, when I had first meeting with the Chief Minister of Bihar, Nitish Kumar, referred to me with high respect. Yes, it is a very reflective and important program. But Sanjay, have you ever meet to Secretary BTMC? I think so. When we think out, first you will meet to BTMC Secretary in Bodh Gaya. And I think so. 17 January 2018, I had meeting in Delhi with the Chief Minister of Bihar. And since 2018, at many levels, I have been not only getting support, but inspiration or encouragement from him. Our concern is that for the institutional mechanism is concerned, we have created in this process. And now in a concrete manner, we have been receiving the institutional support, consistent support from BTMC, from South Bihar University, from Magad University, from Non-Nalanda Bihar University, from Tibet Sanatan Sarnath University, particularly in this region. And as for the national level is concerned, there is no need to explain about the cooperation, guidance, or support from the Indira Gandhi National Culture for the Arts. Just I would like to remind the inaugural session, very brief, delivered by Ram Bahadur Rai ji, popularly known as Rai Sahab. And at the end of, in fact, he remarked very well, and he basically given a message what we would like to conclude for the 5th edition dialogue. It is a remarkable point, and I think so. I will quote verbatim according to him. ये समय आ चुका है कि अगर इस संवाद को आगे निरंतरता में बढ़ानी है तो जरूरी है कि उसके लिए राजाश्रय का समर्थन हो। और जब राय साहब जैसे लोग राजाश्रय की बात करते हैं तो हम समझना चाहिए कि उसका वो अर्थ नहीं है राजाश्रय का जो अर्थ हम एक कन्वेंशनल कंजर्वेटिव ट्रेडिशन में हम राजाश्रय को समझते हैं। और इस मायने में हम बहुत वी आर वेरी फॉर्चुनेट टू गेटिंग गाइडेंस एंड सपोर्ट सिंस बिगिनिंग इंदिरा गांधी नेशनल फॉर सो in the beginning, in fact, there are two broad pillars. As far the common people is concerned, value of the collectivity is concerned. In fact, we have been supporting and encouraging from them. And another pillar, for the institutional mechanism concerned, we have been supporting and encouragement from IGNCA and one of the leading institutions in a diplomatic institution, based in Delhi, Indian Council of World Affairs. At the end, how we will go ahead? In this context, I think so. We have already set up a Bodhi Kendra in Bodh Gaya, and in this process, in a modest manner, we have achieved in a concrete manner 3-4 things. We have started a training center. Very soon we are planning to publish a pictorial book. And in the long-term context, we are planning to sustain the Bodh Gaya dialogue. And the end and the last point, when we will meet, which statement made by myself in the beginning of the inaugural session. When we will meet the 6th edition of a dialogue, again I would like to take the opportunity to reiterate this point. I think so. We will be able at least to sustain sustainable base for the training center run by the Bodhi Kendra in Bodh Gaya for the women who exist in the margin of the development. We will be able to continue the pictorial book, next pictorial book on Nalanda, and also we will to ensure so that I think so we will be able to 6th edition of Global Dialogue in 2024. One thing I would like to bring to your attention, particularly His Excellency, in this background, just I'm missing this point. What kind of engagement to develop in Mongolia monastery in Bodh Gaya, and how can it possible to in the tripartite arrangement and engagement between IGNCA, Deshkal Society, and monastery, in very, very important and significant monastery. I have a brief idea about the monastery based in Bodh Gaya, represent to Mongolia. So what kind of get support or engagement with the monastery of the, it may be possible if we get commitment from the Mongolia monastery in Bodh Gaya. I think it would be modest beginning, but this beginning I think so will open up to engage almost all monasteries in Bodh Gaya. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. I would now like to invite Dr. D.C. Chaube, Professor and Head, East Asia Program Study and Brihatar Bharat Project, IGNCA, New Delhi, for the valedictory speech.
हिज एक्सेलेंसी गनबोल्ड और सचिव महाबोधि टेम्पल के दोरजी जी, संजय जी, हमारे साथी अजय जी, आज मेरे बोलने का समय नहीं है और न हमारे पास समय है, पर 2-3 बातें मैं आपसे कहना चाहूँगा कि ग्लोबल डायलॉग में हमने भगवान बुद्ध का जो विनय पिटक में मदर ऑफ डेमोक्रेसी या इलेक्शन का जो एक पद्धति है, जो भारत की जो नई संसद बन रही है उसमें इंडिया इज़ मदर ऑफ डेमोक्रेसी करके एक फोयर है, तो उसमें भगवान बुद्ध की मूर्ति हमने लगवाई है पार्लियामेंट के दीवारों पे एक गैलरी में, और वहाँ पे विनय पिटक, चुलकलिंग जातक और भी कई ऐसे मूल स्रोत हैं जहाँ से हमने इलेक्शन वोटिंग पद्धति को लिया है, किस प्रकार से बुद्धिस्ट ऑर्डर में, बौद्ध संघों में चुनाव की पद्धति का अनुपालन किया जाता था, तो उसको हमने पार्लियामेंट के उस गैलरी में स्थापित किया है। और दूसरा, अभी हाल ही में हमारा 36वां फाउंडेशन डे था 19 मार्च से 24 मार्च तक, तो न्यू लाइट ऑफ एशिया, द लाइट ऑफ एशिया जो सर एडविन अर्नोल्ड की जो पुस्तक है बहुत पहले मैंने पढ़ी थी, और प्रोफेसर ए के नारायण एक बहुत बड़े इंडोलॉजिस्ट थे जो न्यूमिस्मेटिस्ट भी थे, आर्कोलॉजिस्ट भी थे, तो उनके साथ मुझे काम करते हुए बुद्धिज़्म को पढ़ने लिखने का, बनारस हिंदू विश्वविद्यालय में प्राचीन भारतीय इतिहास संस्कृति का विद्यार्थी था, तो प्रोफेसर ए के नारायण के साथ रहते हुए उनके चाचा भिखु जगदीश कश्यप ने नौ नालंदा महाविहार की स्थापना कराई थी, और चीन देश में जो तमाम हमारी जो किताबें थीं, बुक्स थीं चाइनीज़ में, उसको उन्होंने देवनागरी लिपि में उसका लिप्यांतर भी किया था, भाषांतर किया था। तो ऐसे करके बुद्धिज़्म जुड़ने का, और अभी हाल ही में हमने 21 मार्च को जो किस प्रकार से बुद्धिज़्म का पूरे एशिया में प्रसार हुआ, किस प्रकार से भगवान बुद्ध का लुम्बिनी में जन्म हुआ, तो एक हमने मैप मॉडल एग्जिबिशन लगवाया है IGNCA के अंदर। IGNCA के 2nd फ्लोर पे हमने लगवाया है और एक बड़ा सा मैप बनवाया है, काफ़ी कॉस्टली मैप है, वो 12-13 लाख रुपए लगे उसको ग्राउंड पे बनवाने में, बड़ा सा मैप है। और उसमें किस प्रकार से बुद्धिज़्म का ट्रांसमिशन होता है, किस प्रकार से भगवान बुद्ध के बाद भी किस प्रकार से उनकी देशना को, उनके उपदेशों को लेकर के भारत बुद्ध धर्म के साथ साथ भारतीय संस्कृति को लेकर के दूर देशों में जो लोग गए, तो बहुत छोटे छोटे बौद्ध भिक्षुओं की हमने मूर्तियां भी वहाँ पे लगवाई हैं, स्तूप भी बनवाए हैं। तो एक बहुत अच्छा मैप मॉडल एग्जिबिशन है जिसका थीम है बुद्ध शासनम चिरम तिष्ठति है पाली में। तो उसको हमने कि सब कुछ है अभी भी, और भगवान बुद्ध की देशना भी इन देशों में है, और उनके माध्यम से कनेक्टिंग थ्रू कल्चर का जो कॉन्सेप्ट है कि बुद्ध के माध्यम से हम इन तमाम एशिया खंड के देशों को आपस में जोड़ सकते हैं। और ये बुद्धिज़्म जो है या बौद्ध अध्ययन है हमारे लिए इन देशों के साथ मिलने का, जुड़ने का, एक संवाद कायम करने का एक अच्छा विषय है बुद्ध शासनम चिरम तिष्ठतु। और दूसरी बात कि ग्लोबल डायलॉग में जब तक आप पाली नहीं पढ़ेंगे, संस्कृत नहीं पढ़ेंगे, और गत 2000 वर्षों में दूसरे देशों में बुद्ध धर्म के ऊपर क्या क्या अध्ययन किया गया, कौन कौन सी पुस्तकें लिखी गईं, उसके बारे में नई पीढ़ी के लिए बात हमारी यंगस्टर जो हैं, आप जुड़े हुए सभी जो हमारे एज ग्रुप में है वो तो मानो बुद्धिज़्म से किसी न किसी रूप में जुड़े हैं, पर यंगस्टर जो यहाँ पे बैठे उनके लिए है कि पाली को पढ़ना होगा, संस्कृत को पढ़ना होगा, और गत 2000 वर्षों में बौद्ध धर्म, बौद्ध अध्ययन में किस प्रकार के परिवर्तन हुए, किस प्रकार का उसका स्वरूप बदला है, उसको नवीन परिप्रेक्ष्य में जब तक आप नहीं देखेंगे तो बुद्धिस्ट ग्लोबल डायलॉग ऑन बुद्धिज़्म का ये जो संजय जी का सपना है ये पूर्ण नहीं होगा। आपने मुझे बुलाया, बोलने का अवसर दिया, आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। जय हिंद, जय भारत।
चौबे जी थोड़ा मुझे माफ़ करेंगे अगर पूरी तरह से मैं ट्रांसलेट ना कर पाऊँ, लेकिन कम से कम एसेंस में जरूर दे दूंगा उनको। योर एक्सलेंसी, डॉक्टर चौबे कम्स फ्रॉम IGNCA, Indira Gandhi National Center for Arts, and he's a professor there, and he has been supportive of the dialogues for some time now. Few things he mentioned about Buddha. He said this global dialogues and Buddha and his teachings and his philosophy is an important event. And he also mentioned that IGNC is taking lead in taking Buddha and his paintings, his montages in the new parliament building which is coming up. That's the acknowledgement of the fact that we consider Buddha as a deity of immense importance, not only locally but globally as well. He has been a student at BHU and had good interaction with some of these scholars in the past, and I wish he was there in the sessions and making a presentation. We missed that presentation of your experience on Buddha. This is from my side. Buddha Shashanam, you have used a term which I am not familiar with, but you are saying that through Buddha Shashanam, the cultural connect in Asia can be built up. And I always consider, I think you wanted to make the same mention, that Buddha could be a soft power, diplomatic power to connect not only with the Asian countries, but beyond that as well. And I think that is the message that IGNC is carrying forward. And in one of their important events, they have in their own building now, they have these old replicas and montages of Buddha in other countries, which they are reflecting there. But one point he mentioned, which is of importance here, that he says that if you want to understand Buddha better, then it's, for the young generation, it's important to learn the language of Pali. If you don't learn the language of Pali, to understand Buddha fully will never be possible. I think that's a very important message that he conveys to us. And from my side and from the side, from the organizers, I wish that this becomes a reality sooner than later. Even when I read a lot of Buddha's words, those are in Pali, but we have got some translation. But I'm sure that Buddha said much more meaningful message through with Pali language than which is coming as translation. So I believe that what Dr. Chaubey is saying, he means it in those many means, and he would realize some of those aspects through the future dialogues. Thank you very much, Chaubey.
Thank you so much. I stand before you to extend the formal vote of thanks. On behalf of Deshkal Society, IGNCA and ICWA, we owe our eternal debt to the President of IGNCA, Honorable Shri Ram Bahadur Rai ji, for his valuable guidance and generous support from inception to this milestone in the journey of Bodh Gaya Global Dialogues. Our gratitude is also due to Shri Sachidanand Joshi, Member Secretary IGNCA, who has been a driving inspiration and an architect of the dialogues. We are also grateful to His Excellency Mr. Dambujev Ganbold, the Ambassador, Embassy of Mongolia, New Delhi, for sparing his valuable time and for his kind words that took this edition of dialogues to another level. We also thank Major General Wetsop Namgyal, Ambassador, Royal Bhutanese Embassy, who took out time to join us online in yesterday's session. And a special thanks to our guest of honor, Shri Nangze Dorji, Secretary BTMC, to be here with us today. We extend our deepest gratitude to Dr. Shekhar Dutt, former Governor Chhattisgarh, for making his gracious presence beside the constraints of health issues. We highly appreciate the presence of Dr. Shobna Narayan, Dr. Sushmita Dutt, and Dr. Vinita Sahai, who made this event a memorable and precious one. Our thanks are due to all the moderators who steered the session with rare academic brilliance. This fifth edition of Bodh Gaya Global Dialogues witnessed some of the fine academic minds pondering over the serious contemporary issues. We're grateful to them for making these dialogues thought-provoking and enriching. It's really difficult and time-consuming too to mention all the names here whose contributions in making these dialogues a grand success. However, it would be unfair if I miss to mention a few names. Shri Uday Sahai ji, Sudhirendra Sharma ji, Professor Manish Sinha, Shri Neeraj Kumar, Dr. Ravi Kant, Professor Tasi Sereng, Surat Sinha ji, Dr. Dalip Kumar, Dr. Aviram Sharma, Dr. Shashank Sinha, Shri Arvind Mohan, Professor Taiken Kyuma, Ms. Usha Jha, Shri Mathura Prasad Yadav ji, Professor Baladas Ghoshal, Dr. Binodanand Jha, Dr. Ajay K. Mishra. We are deeply touched by the large participation of the young, creative and beautiful minds from IIM Bodh Gaya, Central University of South Bihar, Magad University and Nav Nalanda Mahavihara. A special thanks to Dr. D.C. Chaubey from IGNCA for chairing and summing up the event. This would not have been possible without the vision of Sri Sanjay Kumar, Secretary Deshkal Society. The back-end support of Khanjan Purohit, Sanjeev Kumar and Ashutosh Kumar deserves a special mention. We highly appreciate the presence of Ms. Kavita Dwivedi for her inspirational dance performance. We would like to thank Shri Prakash Nayak and Ms. Diksha for their support in session documentation. Gunjan deserves appreciation for the anchoring throughout the program. Thank you very much.
अनसंग हीरो हैं, आप आइए। आकाश, आपके बिना संभव ही नहीं होता। आप आइए, मंच पर आइए। आपके बिना संभव ही नहीं होता। अरे आप कहाँ हैं छिपे हुए भाई? बोलिए 2 मिनट। बोलिए खत्म करते हैं। कई बार कन्वेंशन को तोड़ना चाहिए।
मंच पे विराजमान सभी माननीय अतिथिगण, हिज एक्सेलेंसी, उपस्थित इस सभागार में उपस्थित सभी गणमान्य अतिथिगण, दक्षिण बिहार केंद्रीय विश्वविद्यालय से आए हमारे सभी शोधार्थी मित्र और सभी आगंतुक दोस्त, मैं आभार व्यक्त करता हूँ इस देशकाल सोसाइटी के सचिव डॉक्टर संजय सर को, जिन्होंने हम सभी को यहाँ पे आमंत्रित किया और जो रिसर्च स्कॉलर्स हैं, जो न्यू माइंड्स हैं, उन लोगों ने यहाँ पे बहुत कुछ सीखा। डिफरेंट जो डेलीगेट्स थे, उन्होंने अपने डेलिब्रेशन से बहुत कुछ हम लोगों को सिखाया। मैं बस इतना ही कहूँगा कि मैं अपना जो आभार है, मैं इस संस्था के सचिव श्री संजय सर को देना चाहूँगा। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। और सबसे बड़ा जो एफर्ट है, जो हमारी टीम है, दक्षिण बिहार केंद्रीय विश्वविद्यालय के जितने भी शोधार्थी हैं, जिन्होंने तन मन से जो यहाँ पे अपना काम, अपने आप को जो प्रूव किया है और ये बताया कि हम लोग भी एक सक्रिय भागीदार हैं इस प्रोग्राम के, ये बहुत बड़ी बात है। और आकाश कुमार बिना हमारे जो मित्र हैं, जो साथी स्कॉलर्स हैं, उसके बिना कुछ नहीं है। हम लोग तो बस सिर्फ सर्व कर रहे थे। मैं फिर से अपना आभार व्यक्त करूंगा संजय सर को। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
आकाश, कहाँ छिप जाते हैं भाई? अब अनसंग हीरो नहीं रहा, मेन हीरो हो गया। रिलीज हो गई आप।